students, welcome. This audio-visual classroom is designed for students of grade 9 studying English subject. Okay students, today we have some lessons from Unit 5. Today we are going to talk about tense and writing exercise from Unit 5 of your grade 9 English book. Okay students, I hope you are ready. Now I'd like to take you to the exercise. Okay students? Okay, let me talk about something about this picture first. Can you describe this picture? Yes, they are. Yes, you are right. They are digging the field. They are planting the plants, and they are doing different field work. They are working in the field, right? Yes, you are right. So how many people are there? Almost 7, 8. You can count them. And they are working together, right? Okay, students, now we are going to talk about the similar things in our today's lesson in the first part. That is, already I have mentioned, that is, tense, present tense. Let me show you the text here. What is here? Once you read this text, you will find out what we are going to read. In the instruction A, you have seen, read the text and underline the verbs in present continuous tense. Okay students, what you are supposed to do, you have to read the text and underline the verbs and their forms that is in present continuous tense. Okay, you can see the picture here as well. There are many people. They are doing different activities. Now here is the description. Now let me read it, and you can also read it with me. Hello everybody. Look at this picture. Here is one of the moments I prefer when we are all together on a nice Sunday afternoon. But let me introduce myself. I'm Bob. I'm standing in front of my father who is reading the newspaper. Mom is listening to her favorite songs on the radio. My 2 sisters, Rose and Sally, are playing with their dolls. My grandfather is having a nap and Granny is drinking a cup of tea. The cat is running after the birds as usual, and only my cousins are doing real activities. Ken is washing Mom's flowers and Mike is cleaning the windows. Can you imagine that Sunday afternoon? Okay students, here as we have described, here is the actions going on. Okay, here are the actions, different activities going on, and there is the description. Now you have to find out the forms of the verbs here. That is present continuous tense. Can you identify which are those sentences here? Yes, the sentences with is, am, and are following the verbs listening or ing verbs. For example, let me underline one for you. I am standing in front of my father. Look at this sentence. I am standing. There is an auxiliary verb am, and there is a verb ing or verb 4 we call it, verb ing here. So this kind of sentences are called present continuous tense, and these kind of sentences describe the current happenings or things or activities going on at the moment of speaking. Okay students, while describing picture, while talking about the situation around you, while talking about the activities around you, you use present continuous tense to describe or to tell someone what is happening there. Okay students, so I guess you have got the idea about the rest of the sentences here which have the similar present continuous form. Can you tell me which are those? Yes, you are right. The next one is, his mom is listening. Here is also another sentence, father who is reading the newspaper, and that comes in the same sentence, in the previous sentence. And next one is, mom is listening to her favorite songs. And the third one, Rose and Sally are playing with their dolls. This is also the similar forms to describe the present activities. And another sentence, as you have guessed, my grandfather is having a nap. And the next one, Granny is drinking a cup of tea. You are absolutely right. And the next one is, yes, the cat is running after the birds. And another one is, Ken is watering mom's flowers. And finally, we have another sentence with present continuous form, that is, Mike is cleaning the windows. Okay, students, these are the present continuous forms. Did you have these ideas before? Yes, you might have studied tense, right? So there are mainly 3 tenses in English or any language, right? What are those tenses? Yes, present, past, and future. Yes, you're right. And we are today talking about present tense. And in present tense as well, there are 4 aspects. Can you name those aspects? Yes, simple, continuous, and perfect continuous tense. Present tense. In the present tense, we have 4 aspects. In the past tense, we have 4 aspects. And in future as well, we have 4 aspects. We are talking about present today. Okay, students, let me give you some short idea before we do the task B. Let me tell you about, once again, in short, about present tense. We have different tense, and we are talking about present tense today. Okay, students, so in present tense, we have different aspects. Simple one and continuous. We are talking about 2 aspects only today. There are also other aspects. Can you name those aspects? Yes, present perfect, and another one we have is the present perfect continuous. We are going to talk about only 2 things, 2 aspects today, because we have here exercises for these 2 aspects. Okay, students? So what kind of sentences are these? Simple and present continuous tense. Can you guess any example of these 2 sentences? 2 tenses? 2 tense aspects? Yes. Okay, let me give you one example. Here is the example of the sentence. She likes apples. And in continuous, I am eating apples now. Okay, students, here we have 2 kinds of sentence structures, right, students? Look at this structure. What do we have? She is a subject, and likes is a verb, and it is in the verb form or S forms or singular form of verb, and we have object, right, students? This is the structure. And we have continuous tense here. We have I as the subject and am as the auxiliary verb, okay, auxiliary verb, and we have verb ing, and then we have object. Okay, this is the structure. Sometimes instead of am, we can have is or are according to the subject in auxiliary verb position. Okay, students, so we have auxiliary here. We don't have auxiliary verb here. We have only main verb as likes. Okay, so we have situations to use these aspects. We have different situations, like we can talk about likes and dislikes in simple forms. We can talk about likes and dislikes. We can talk about facts. Okay, students? We can talk about facts. We can talk about opinion in present simple tense, simple aspect of present tense. Opinion. And we can talk about daily habits or routine. Okay, students? So in continuous tense, we talk about here to talk about something happening now or at the moment. At the moment. So we have words or adverbs or time adverbs like every day, every day, every day, or you can say always or regularly. Here we have now, at the moment. That tells about something happening now. Okay, students? This is continuous and this is simple present tense here. So we talk about facts like sun rises in the east, or water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, and likes and dislikes. I like apples, she likes apples, she likes to sing songs. And opinion, he is good, she is good, like that. And habits, I wash my face every day, I eat rice every day, twice a day, and I always go to school. Likewise, here in continuous tense, we use continuous form like I'm writing a poem now, I am walking at the moment. Likewise, we talk about this actions going on in present continuous tense, and in present simple present tense we talk about some facts and our habits. Okay, that's the difference between these two aspects, and they are very similar, and sometimes they can be similar and confusing as well, but these are the present tense. You don't have to be confused with that. You can talk about present things happening or something naturally going on, or as a habit or routine. You can talk about talk about that things in present simple tense. Okay, simple present tense. Now let's talk about the exercise B. Okay, students, are you ready? Let me show you. Here, I'll show you just the structures that I've just talked about, just right now. Present continuous tense, there we have is, am, are as the auxiliary verb, and we have something happening, going, doing, or something happening now. That's the actions going on. And we have the structure like subject, is, am, are, or verb ing, and object or adverbs. And then examples can be he is writing a poem, she is doing her homework, and so on. Okay, these are the things about present continuous tense and simple present tense. Now let's look at the exercise B. Here we have to fit those simple present tense and present continuous tense according to the situation we find here in the sentence. Okay, students? Now let's look at this first sentence. Can you read it aloud? Yes. The first sentence is, be quiet, the baby sleep. What do you think is there? Be quiet means you are at the moment of baby, sleeping, baby is sleeping there. So you have to make it present continuous tense. The situation or the expression be quiet requires present continuous tense. That is, the baby is sleeping. Now, here we have another sentence, it rain, and you can fit present continuous tense here. It is raining cats and dogs. Do you know what does it mean, cats and dogs? It means a heavy rain. Okay, students? Cats and dogs, raining cats and dogs mean a heavy rain that is pouring, like pouring in the monsoon. It is raining cats and dogs here in the monsoon season. John is busy. He is busy means he is working. So here we need again present continuous tense. Something action is going on here so that he is busy. And then we have another sentence, please keep quiet. So again, there is a situation at the moment you are asked to be quiet because something is going on. What's going on there? I am listening to the radio. You know, I listen to the news in the morning. What time is the bus leaving for Kathmandu? Okay, when you make questions, you have to put the auxiliary verb before the subject here, and then you add again the continuous ing form here, and you make the question again in present continuous form. What time is the bus leaving for Kathmandu? I usually, here look at this word usually means a routine or a daily habits. So we have to make now simple present tense. So what's the structure of this sentence? Structure of this sentence is subject, verb 1 or verb 5. So we have to make here, I usually do not wear a scarf. Look at this. Wear is a verb 1, okay, or do is a verb 1 here, and we have made it negative. Scarf, but today I am wearing one because it's unusually cold, so I am wearing. So that's the situation happening. And she travel to Dhangari next week. How do we make it correct sentence? We add present continuous tense, because when we are talking about future plans, when we are talking about our future plans, we can also use present continuous tense, like she is traveling to Dhangari next weekend. She is not actually doing right now, but it's going on in future. So for planning, for talking about future plans, you can use present continuous tense. Pasang is in the classroom at the moment. He is studying history. Likewise, you can make, these days most people are writing emails instead of writing letters. What sort of clothes? Now you have to make question here. So you need auxiliary verb here, because the subject is plural, you need are here, and then you need the ing verb here, wearing nowadays. And here again, what? Again, there you need an auxiliary verb here, and doing here, what are you doing tonight? And you look worried. Again here, what are you thinking of? Here again, we have the same question format in present continuous tense. And she usually drives a taxi, but today she is driving a lorry. These kids, are not doing what I have asked them to do. Okay, these are the sentences to fulfill or to complete with the correct forms of the verbs. Now we have last activity for this tense here. So what are your friends? What are you and your friends doing now? Can you describe the situation in your class? Okay, yes. Let me give you some examples. What you have said. I am doing homework. You can say, we are learning English. My friend is talking. My friends are sitting here. And my friends like to play games. And we are good friends. We can talk about, look at this, in present, simple present tense as well. We can talk about the situation or the present condition, or your opinions. My friends are good, we are good, that's your opinion. And the situation actions going on with the ing forms of the verbs. Okay, students, now this was about this continuous, present continuous tense in the exercise from Unit 5. Now we are going to move to another exercise. Okay, students, are you ready? Okay, let's go to the exercise for writing. Well, students, we have writing one here. This is about charts. Okay, students, do you know charts? Okay, students, let me talk about charts first to introduce you what are charts first. Okay, students, there are different types of charts. Do you know? What are they? Yes, you're right. There are bar charts, there are pie charts, there are maps to read, there are and line charts. So what kind of charts are bar charts? Have you seen this kind of charts in your book? Yes. And pie charts, we have different sections in a pie, and we have maps going on different directions, and we have lines to talk about different changes. Okay, students, so these are called charts, and these charts express different information in this. It shows different data, different information, different changes happening from the past and the present, from the one situation, one place to another place. Okay, now let me show you here in our book. We have example of households by ownership of houses in Nepal. Okay, students, how people are owning their house, or how the household conditions are in Nepal in comparison to urban area and rural area. We have, let me show you, or let's study this chart first before we read the actual description of this chart. Can you describe these charts by yourself? Yes. You can see here, let me show you this signs here, clues here. You have different signs according to the color. You have 57% of the owned houses, and you have 92% owned houses in rural area, and urban area we have 57. Look at the condition here, the difference in the rented house in urban area and in rural area. You can see a significant difference between the rented house in urban area and the rural area. Okay, students, now let me show you the description of these charts, how they describe, how people describe these charts, and we will also try to describe the similar charts. Okay, students, are you ready? Well, students, now let's have a look at the description of the chart and learn about how we can describe the charts. Here, let me read it aloud, and you can also read it along with me. The pie chart, the above pie charts show the comparability of home ownership, rented and others in Nepal between rural and urban sectors. Okay, students, here we have different areas like urban and rural areas, and there is the comparability, means comparison between the different home ownership. In rural areas, 92% of families have their own houses. Can you see here? Yes. In rural areas, 92% of families have their own houses, and only 6% of households live in rented houses. Look at here, the red section here, only 6% of the households live in rented house in rural areas. And only 2% of families spend their life without owning and renting houses. They don't have house, and also they don't have any rented, or they don't live in a rented house as well. Okay, that's 2% here. And let's look at the urban area. On the contrary, 57% of families have their own houses, and 40% of families live in rented houses in town areas. Look here, the red section is the rented houses, or families in rented houses. More than 1/3 of families stay in rented house in cities, more than 1/3. And 3% of urban families do not have their own houses, and they do not stay in rented houses either. And 3% do not have their own house, and they even don't live in rented houses. And comparing, now let's compare. Comparing the rural and urban areas, the number of houses owned is less in towns than in villages. Okay, so you can see here, the owners, you can see here, 57% and 92% here in rural, so less owners in a town than in villages. But there is a big gap between urban and rural areas where families rent houses. Between the rented house, there is a big gap here. The percentage of the families who live in rented houses is more than 6 times in urban areas than rural ones. Look here. It is more than 6 times. Here is the 40%, here is the 6% in rural areas. But the number of families who stay outside the own house and rented house is similar in both the areas. You can see here the people who stay outside own and rented house are similar. Here is 3% and in rural area 2%. There are similarity here. So this is the way we compare, we describe, we interpret charts. Okay, students? So first we talk about the situation in one chart or one place and next the other, and we compare the both and we see the differences and we see the similarities. Okay, students, now let's see how we can start our interpretation of charts. We saw that in the chart here. What do we see? The above pie charts. So this is the beginning, and we can start this kind of chart interpretation in different ways. Here is the starters. You can read it aloud with me. The pie chart shows line graphs represent how data has changed over time, or you can replace shows with represents, illustrates, describes, and so on. So these are the starters for your description or interpretation of the chart. Okay, and while comparing to the both charts, you can use the words like to compare, and you compare to, as opposed to, versus, more than, the majority of, greater than, or less than. Okay, these are the some helplines for you to write. Okay, now one more thing you have to learn is to use vocabularies like rise or increase, decrease, fall, decline, decrease, drop as the verbs you can use. And adjectives can be sharp, huge, dramatic, significant, small difference, huge difference, dramatic difference. And adverbs you can say, change in rapid change, significant change, slight change, minimally, suddenly, steadily, and so on. And you can connect your sentences with the words or phrases like in comparison, similarly, but, however, and then you can conclude overall, we can see, okay, what you can see in the chart. Look at this, for example, you can see the fruit, people liking different fruits here. Blueberry has the highest number of, people who like it. So you can see here bananas and grapes have less number of people liking it. Okay, so you can see the comparison and you can see the overall impression that we can see that blueberry is the most popular fruit around the world. You can summarize that like that. Okay, students? Now let me show you the exercise here. This is our exercise for writing or interpreting charts. So we have here the similar kind of chart, pie chart here, telling you some information about household expenditure in Nepal. Household expenditure in Nepal means, expenses, or how much money you spend on different items, like we have here food, housing, education, other non-food items. It can be clothing or luxury things. Okay, so here we have color signs here, symbols here. Blue is for food, and red is for housing, and green is for education, and purple color is for non-food items here. Now you can observe this chart and find out what is the situation about the situation in 2004 and 2011. You can see here the same kind of expenditure is here, but with the difference in the amounts. The pie charts below show the information about household expenditure, expenses, in Nepal in 2004 and 2011. Write an interpretation of the charts, making comparison where necessary. Okay, students, now we have learned in the previous examples, and we have also got some helplines, helping words, helping vocabularies, and you can now observe the things here, and you can start your interpretation of the chart. Now, how you can start writing? How you can compare the two situations here? You have to see here first. You can see here the difference, 59% here in food. People is spending 59% of their income, and here 61.5% in spending on food in 2011. Well, students, now we have this information, and you can start, as we have already talked about, starters. You can say the parts, the pie chart. The pie chart shows or represents, illustrates, describes anything you can, any word you can choose for showing the data. And then you can start with the information given in your exercise or your question. Here, the information you can copy from here. After the show, you can see here the information about household expenditure in Nepal in 2004 and 2011. You can copy it here, because that's what the data, or that's what the chart is showing. Now, what you can do next is you are going to compare. You are explaining the data. I'll give you some starting lines. Okay, students, so how you can write? Now I'll just give you some help lines here. As I already said, you can start with the pie chart shows, illustrates, describes, and you have to mention from question there is the explanation or giving clues. Question, you can give the clues here, and you can describe what is happening in the first chart in 2004. You can talk about in 2004. You can now talk about in 2004 the expenditure on food is, you can say now how much percent is there, 59%, and so on. You can go on describing the data there, and you can also describe the next picture or next chart with the word on the other hand. On the other hand, in 2011, the spending on food is 61.5%, and you go on describing the other data, and you can compare the two data in comparison to 2004 and 2011 data. The spending on food is increased in 2011 from 59 to 61%, 61.5%. You can now compare which has lesser decreased amount or decreased spending, and which has got increased spending. And then lastly, you can express your overall impression. You can say that overall, we can see that people are more interested. We can see that people are more interested in education, food. You can see the increased amounts in food and education and housing, right? And housing. That's the impression of the data. in comparing between 2004 and 2011 spending on different sections. Okay, students, so this is the way how you can explain or describe or interpret the charts. Here I have given you some just outlines. You can take the help and describe the charts. Okay, students, have you got the idea? I hope you have got. If you have confusion, you can review the video and check the other helping words and phrases and use it. And you can also observe the example given in our textbook and write. Okay, students, so what we have to do first, you have to introduce what is there in the chart, and you have to compare between the two information, and then we have to give the overall impression. What is the result, or what is the impression from the chart between the comparison, Okay, students, that's what we have to do for the charts. Well, students, thank you for watching the video. I hope you have got the help from this video. We will see you again. Namaste.